all. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I see Gunfox was here and it's got to go already. Oh, man. Well, we'll see you another day, brother. Glad you were here. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Night Live. I've been watching the news and, there's all kinds of news. There's a whole kinds of things we've been missing. But I caught on to this. There's an interesting phenomenon going on where all of a sudden some things that you go, that seems innocuous, are no longer acceptable. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the somewhat of a cultural cleansing, the you can't have it anymore items that we're starting to see in the wake of the protests and the vandalism and looting and rioting. Those are not all the same things, but also we're seeing a little bit of a temper tantrum going on, and some of our corporate overlords in the great United States of America are kind of jumping on the bandwagon. And I find some of it's amusing. Some of it's just sad. Some of it's just stupid. But that's what we're going to talk about today on the Morning Night Live. Play the intro, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Night. And stop the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with me, Marty, known as PDawg Night on the internet, on the PDawg Night channel. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. It is Thursday, the 11th of June, and, I should probably, let's just not forget this. Let's just get the music going now. It's the day we're just going to go with some Afro beats. That's what it's called. I don't know what that means, but you know what? We're going to try it out. So here we go. Ever so slight. It'll be nice and comforting in the background. So, I'm perusing through my choice of articles today that I was thinking about using, and I noticed a theme amongst several of them. And it's things that just have to be dismantled, destroyed, removed, taken away from your sight, because we're not mature enough to be able to handle some of the things that we see. We can't compartmentalize some things and realize that, some things from the past are part of that past. It's a part of history. Maybe it's not a beautiful part of history, but we just apparently us, and when I say us, I mean us black folks. And the woke, what do they call them? Allies. Believe me, it's more the allies than us themselves. But we just can't have it in our sight anymore. And so today I thought we'd peruse a list of things that are no longer allowed, or at least for now are no longer allowed, just based on some of the stories I've seen in the news the last few days. So, before I do that, though, I am going to say good morning to everybody. And let's see. My friend Richard from Down Under was here first. He gets the bell. Excuse me. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations coffee in hand, and it is fantastic. I have a new Jamaican blend that I just bought. It's really nice medium to bold blend of coffee. It's very, very good. Also, good morning to E. Michael, who got here quite early also. Good morning, Maddie, who's already tweeted out the show if you haven't done that. or retweeted one of my tweets, I'd greatly appreciate it. Oh, I should probably tweet those. Here, let me click the post. I didn't post them. Well, let's try this. We'll do this, post, published, and tweet. So there we go. Now those are live on Twitter, Minds, and Gab. Also, thank you, Maddie, for beat me to it. Good morning, Stab and Joe Scarborough. Don't hurt me. Good morning to Chi-Town Jay, James Colley. Gunfox was here, but I don't think he's here anymore, but he came in to say hi and then had to take off. I'm glad you were here for at least a moment, sir. Good morning to TC Ball. Chadwick Dupree, aka Damn It Chadwick. Good morning to DI Freighter Watcher, Chi-Town Jay, Duck Dog, who's not having a good day. I hope your day gets better, my friend. You know that I appreciate you, and I don't like to see that, but I hope everything's going to be okay. Good morning to Advocatus Dobley, the devil's advocate. Black Hebrew Israelites is in the house.
That's right.
Good morning to Select Boy.
Yeah, boy.
And good morning to Cynical Lindsay. And let's see, who else? Oh, now the people who got the notification a little later. Good morning, Irish Rose. Hey, Larry. What's up? Mike Savage, Blarg, Molly Mags, and that's everyone in the chat so far. I'm sure people are rolling in slowly. That's cool. We got about 25 people here so far, and that'll probably get up to our usual 50 to 60 that we do on most days. I'm glad you're here. Please share the stream, hit the share arrow, or retweet or repost or republish what I did on Twitter, Minds, and Gab. Also, if you like what we do, hit the like button sometime during the show. I promise I will remind you if you forget. And super chats, donations, things like that, go to the Streamlabs link at pdawgnight.live. It's right down there. You can type it in, or you can hit the link in the description down below, or that'll show up in the chat every once in a while. All right, let's get to it. The theme of the day is cultural cleansing. Now, one of the things that got me on this mindset was this tweet that I saw a little bit ago. This is Ian Miles Chong, who is a pretty active dude on Twitter, and he tweeted this picture out right here. And this is now I'm gonna move the words out so you can't necessarily see it. This is a statue in Philadelphia that the protesters, or well, I don't know. Oh, good morning, Malia Carr, another one of my friends from Down Under. Also, Tyler F. How you doing? So this is a statue of a man named Matthias. I think it's Matthias Baldwin. Now, interesting that they defaced the statue and graffiti all over it, and a couple other monuments right near the statue of Matthias Baldwin. Let me tell you a little bit about Matthias Baldwin. I pulled up a Wikipedia page because I'm like, well, why are they mad at Matthias Baldwin? let me just do a little Wikipedia highlight on Matthias Baldwin. Matthias William Baldwin, December 10th, 1795 to September 7th, 1866. So he lived to be a ripe old age of 71. Was an American inventor and machinery manufacturer, specializing in the production of steam locomotives. Baldwin's small machine shop, established in 1825, grew to become Baldwin Locomotive Works, one of the largest and most successful locomotive manufacturing firms in the United States. Most famous of the early locomotives was Old Ironsides, built by Matthias Baldwin in 1832. Now, I'm going to skip some of this other preliminary stuff about Matthias Baldwin, but here's the part I want you to know about. Personal. Baldwin was a devout member of the Presbyterian Church and a consistent donor to religious and secular charitable causes throughout his life. In 1824, he was the founder of the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. In 1835, he donated money to establish a school for African American children in Philadelphia, and continued to pay the teachers' salaries out of his own pocket for years thereafter. Baldwin was an outspoken supporter for the abolition of slavery in the United States, a position that was used against him and his firm by competitors eager to sell locomotives to railroads based in the slaveholding South. These dumbasses defaced a statue of Matthias Baldwin, an early abolitionist who fought against slavery 30 years before it ended. And if you see, there's some other pictures. Let's see, I think I have some other pictures of where they did this. They were put, what's this say? Murderer, colonizer, Matthias Baldwin, the early abolitionist. This just tells you that these people are stupid. Unless they thought it was supposed to be Christopher Columbus or something. I have no idea what these people are thinking, or just their lack of knowledge is sad. But anyway, so on this, continuing on with this theme, however, just now, it's not necessarily what. Well, here's some things. So, NASCAR, I don't even know what NASCAR stands for, but I know it's something stock car, automotive racing or something like that. They're banning Confederate flags from all events and properties. You know what? If they want to do that, that's fine. That's their prerogative, private business, whatever they want to do. But anyway, NASCAR bans Confederate flag from its races and properties on Wednesday, formally distancing itself from what many see as a symbol of slavery and racism that had been a familiar sight at stock car events for more than 70 years. The move comes amid social unrest around the globe following the death of police custody of George Floyd, an unarmed black man. In Minneapolis, protests have roiled the nation for days, and Confederate monuments are being taken down across the South. The traditional fan base for NASCAR, Bubba Wallace, NASCAR's lone black driver, called this week for the disbandishment of the Confederate flag and said there was no place for them in the sport. At long last, NASCAR obliged. And then we also, Rusty Wallace? What's his name? Anyway, who has the Black Lives Matter car from Petty Racing. This one, I'm not so... It just doesn't bother me. I mean, if places want to have the Confederate flag, I know it's not necessary. See, some people have the mistaken idea that the battle flag was the country's flag, the Confederate States of America flag, which is not. Actually, that flag predates the Confederacy. It was the Southern units in the Civil War used that flag, so that's why some people think of it as Southern heritage, not Confederate heritage. Although it is highly associated with the Confederacy, and I understand maybe the people not wanting that flag. Although I still love the General Lee, the car from Dukes of Hazzard, still was one of my favorite toys when I was a kid. I had a little replica General Lee. I thought it was cool. Anyway, but whatever. The move was announced before Wednesday night's race at Martinsville Speedway, where Wallace, an Alabama native, was driving a Chevrolet with the Black Lives Matter paint scheme. Oh, it was Bubba Wallace's car that has that. I didn't realize that. I've never met a brother named Bubba, by the way. Wait, there's a Ha-Ha now? Okay, so there's somebody named Ha-Ha, and it's Heh. Oh, it's, wait, PDawg Nights, it's Heh in from another Nick, cause Quinn Michaels banned me. Oh, okay. So Ha-Ha is formerly known as Heh. And good morning, also, this is Kyle. Anyway, excuse me. Wallace got a shout out on Twitter from several athletes, including NBA star LeBron James, for using the paint scheme in the race. The flag issue has been a thorny one for NASCAR. Former chairman Brian France in 2015 tried to ban the flying of the Confederate flags at racetracks, angering many fans. NASCAR did not address how it would enforce the policy or indicate any penalties for fans who violate it by bringing the Confederate flag onto the track. NASCAR has not raced with fans since the sport resumed last month amid the pandemic, and was expected to have minimal fans allowed at races this month in Florida and Georgia. Confederate flags still fly high atop infield RVs and are waved by fans in the grandstands at most tracks. NASCAR has been more open in recent time to the eradication of the Confederate flag. Several drivers, including two-time Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin, said they supported Wallace in his quest to rid the sport of the flag. So there you go. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Good morning, CNN sucks, by the way. Moving on, HBO Max has temporarily removed Gone with the Wind after complaints it glorifies the antebellum South. Now, this is also ironic because Hattie McDaniel, the first black actress, female actor, whatever you want to call it these days, to win an Oscar. First black female to win an Oscar. She became the first black person to win an Oscar for her portrayal as Mammy in the movie. The death of George Floyd has really put everyone on edge lately, with people demanding the removal of insensitive content and statues. Yes, because we are so fragile. I have a story about that. Anyway, HBO removed Gone with the Wind from its streaming service, HBO Max, after 12 Years a Slave. Screenwriter John Ridley claimed it glorifies the antebellum South. Well, 12 Years a Slave is oppression porn also, but they're not going to remove that anyway. And look, the damn... Ugh. It's not like Gone with the Wind was made in, 2007, okay? It was made in 1932, I think, or something like that. I mean, it's an old freaking movie. And as it was originally created, because to do otherwise would be the same as claiming those prejudices never existed. Okay, you can all stop being outraged. Gone with the Wind. Okay, someone says it will return to HBO Max, but with more context added. Well, if we had an education system in this country that taught some history, you might already know the context of the movie. But anyway, from the Daily Mail on Monday, John Ridley, screenwriter for 12 Years a Slave, wrote in the Los Angeles Times that the film should potentially be removed. It doesn't just fall short with regard to representation. He wrote, "It is a film that glorifies the antebellum South. It is a film that, when it is not ignoring the horrors of slavery, it pauses only to perpetuate some of the most painful stereotypes of people of color. It is a film that, as a part of it..." Wait a minute. Hold up. Do John Singleton movies do the same thing? Even though was it Boys in the Hood? Wasn't that John Singleton? Didn't that do that also? Don't some of the gang movies from the 80s and 90s do the same thing? Are we gonna get, and some of those directed by black people? Are there Spike Lee's movies that glorify or perpetuate stereotypes that we no longer care to adhere to? I would say that too. How about some of the rap music of today? Does it perpetuate some of the most painful stereotypes of people of color? In fact, we glorify some of the painful stereotypes of people of color in some forms of entertainment we have today. So, hey, if we're going to start banning books, ban them all. So I guess period pieces are out of the question. Remember, Ridley made a movie called 12 Years a Slave. Oppression porn. Did really forget that Hattie McDaniel, the daughter of 2 former slaves, became the first black woman to win an Oscar for her portrayal as Mammy. Hattie McDaniel was I just said that twice. I haven't seen Gone with the Wind in a long time. I saw it one time, and but it's a classic movie, grand movie of the time, and I don't know, if you put it in historical context and can get through it without having what do you call it? Getting triggered is the word, I guess. I don't know. It's just stupid to me. All right. Now, following the HBO cancellation with Gone with the Wind, it became after they banned it, Gone with the Wind is the #1 best-selling movie on Amazon. HBO Max pulled Gone with the Wind, the 1939 film that's been called the biggest blockbuster in American history, from its library of streaming films. It quickly shot to the top of the list of the best-selling movies and TV shows on Amazon.com. So I'm sure Amazon's going to remove it from its selection too. And any day now, just set your watch, see how long it takes, right? Other editions of the film also made the top 10 lists on Amazon Wednesday, ranking number 8 and 9. Oh, so there's more. They have 3 different editions of it are the top 10 selling on Amazon. That figures. It's also at the top of the romance category on Amazon. The movie won 10 Academy Awards, one which was earned by Hattie McDaniel, making her the first African American to be nominated for and win an Oscar. Topping the best-selling list on Amazon Wednesday is not the first indication of the movie's popularity. Entertainment Weekly estimated that 202 million people have watched Gone with the Wind in theaters between the movie's original release and subsequent re-releases. When the movie aired on NBC in 1976, 65% of television audiences watched it. Now, think about that. Now, granted, back in 76, you had the 3 networks, you had public television, and you might have had a couple local UHC, whatever that is, stations. But 65% of people watching TV were watching Gone with the Wind that evening. That is amazing. 65% of the entire television audience in 1976 were watching the same program at once. Amazing. In fact, making it the most watched program ever at the time, according to the New York Post. And the Margaret Mitchell house, where the novel Gone with the Wind was written, and where fans can see props and pieces of the movie set, still receives about 33,000 visitors every year, which is amazing because that movie was made in 1939. And I don't think it's 33,000 old farts just going to see it because out of nostalgia, because most of those people are dead. So anyway, adjusted for inflation, Gone with the Wind remains the highest grossing film in history, according to Business Insider. So for all the people who were cheering for Gone with the Wind being taken off HBO Max, moving on. Are these 7 movies? This is by Christian Toto, Hollywood and Toto. Are these 7 movies on the woke chopping block? Now, yesterday, Blazing Saddles was trending. Now, one thing interesting about Blazing Saddles, though, is most of the people, not because they thought it should be removed, because most people were laughing at the idea, well, should they take Blazing Saddles off? And the woke crowd saying, well, Blazing Saddles was an anti-racism movie, but it's one of those movies that, hey, is the words in it insensitive? The most popular movie of all time is going back to the shop for a tune-up. First, the new streaming platform HBO Max announced it was removing Gone with the Wind from its content lineup. Now we're learning the film will return with a catch. the beloved drama starring Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh, will be accompanied by a lecture saying how wrong the material is and how to interpret it properly. I can't wait. Who will be the narrators of that piece of hell that's unnecessary if people had an education in this country? Anyway, who knows if those conditions will be enough to satiate the woke mob. They smell blood across the cultural landscape, and they're moving with ruthless speed. We've already seen long-running Cops. The show Cops is getting the axe from A&E. Or not A&E, from the Paramount Network, and also Live PD on A&E are being canceled, at least for now. What's next? So here's a list of films that are considered deeply problematic or sharing messages deemed untenable for the modern left. And make no mistake, it's the left tearing down statues, rioting nationwide, and erasing history wherever it can. So here's a list of some films that he thinks could be on the chopping block, although I don't think Blazing Saddles is, by the reaction on Twitter yesterday. The woke mob was like making fun of people who thought Blazing Saddles would be on the list. Blazing Saddles. Culture observers have had this Mel Brooks classic on their list for some time. The film liberally uses the N-word. It features stereotypically gay characters and employs slurs now considered taboo. Now, I know that the LGBT community hates Blazing Saddles probably more than black people do. Black people just think it's funny. Black people get a kick out of it. Black people know that Richard Pryor was one of the writers on this of this movie, and kind of get it, that it's lampooning racism, but whatever. But they do comedy is the lecherous little elf whispering in the king's ear, always telling the truth about human behavior, Brooks famously said about his approach to humor, and the more specifically, his classic comedy, Blazing Saddles, mocked racist, not black people, a nuance lost on its critics. As I watched the conversation about this movie yesterday, I think people get it. I don't think Blazing Saddles is one of them. Now, Soul Man, however, if you've ever seen Soul Man, I saw Soul Man, and I thought really nothing of it, and actually it kind of made some poignant points, but C. Thomas Howell's in blackface during the entire movie. Soul Man, this forgotten 1986 comedy, might make a comeback, but that's not the kind that's flattering in any way. C. Thomas Howell stars as a teen who wolfs down tanning pills to darken his skin. Why? He wants to go to Harvard, and by pretending to be black, he can access a minority scholarship deal. Does it matter that Howell's character gets a crash course on racism as a result? Of course not. The film could be canceled for featuring a white actor in blackface. Context rarely, if ever, matters to the woke mob. Like I said, it was also a movie about a guy who gets a kind of a crash course in racism. But and like I said, when my wife and I were about to have our first child, and she asked, "Well, what should we put if they ask for their race?" And I laughed at the time because I said, "Well, if they're applying for a scholarship, we're going to put black. If they're applying for a job, we're going to put white." Although that joke, you know what? Unfortunately, that joke probably doesn't work anymore. Anyway. All right, Tropic Thunder. Everyone loves Tropic Thunder. What do you mean by you people? Ben Stiller comedy, only 12 years old, but it went from the cutting edge to problematic in record time. Why? Lines like, "You never go full retard." For starters, that inspired sizable outrage from the disabled rights community at the time. And more importantly, Robert Downey Jr. donned blackface to play a black character in the film within a film. No. Oh, well, yeah. I still haven't met a black person who's complained about Tropic Thunder either, because I thought it was hilarious that this guy was portraying an Australian actor playing a black actor in a movie within the movie. I thought that was brilliant, And Robert Downey Jr. was brilliant in this movie. It was hilarious, and most of us get it. Okay, but I'm sure there's a few out there seeing Robert Downey Jr. in blackface, but I've never seen him get really. I haven't seen anyone. I've seen all kinds of people take to task for doing blackface in a movie, but I've never seen it with him for some reason. I think people get it. The Elizabeth Warren theme, yes. Also, moving on, whatever to come up with. Unplanned. Well, there's nothing R-rated about the pro-life drama. No one mocks people of color, and the language is suitable for the entire family. The movie's attack on Planned Parenthood, though, could put it on the left's crosshairs. Well, that's already been in the left's crosshairs, but I don't think it's going to be that way because of anything that's going on right now. 16 Candles. Elle magazine called John Hughes' classic an outdated nightmare. Molly Ringwald starts as a typical teen with an atypical problem. Her family forgot her birthday. Along the way, we get some clunky Asian stereotypes. A nerd who wields a girl's panties as a sign of conquest. Another body team. Any of the teen coming of age movies from like the 80s through the 2000. I think of that are problematic by today's standards, which I thought were funny in the day. That's one. Porky's. Porky's. Oh my God. Can you imagine someone watching Porky's now with a woke left attitude? Anyway, Dirty Harry. The woke mob can get a 2 for here. Not only would they love to see this fascist cop killer memory hold, because they would call him fascist, right? They could strike a blow against this star, conservative legend Clint Eastwood. Dirty Harry took down minority criminals, going so far as to mock their dialects in the process. The left loathes white male vigilantes too, while often cheering women who take the law into their own hands. Yeah. Anyway, and then Animal House. Oh, well, we just loved Animal House, and my favorite line in the whole movie is, "Do you mind if we dance with your dates?" Anyway, all right, so that's those are other things that could be taken down. Moving on, Whoopi Goldberg isn't happy about the Gone with the Wind kerfluffle, and maybe even Cops. Now that HBO Max has temporarily shelved Gone with the Wind and Paramount Network canceled Cops, Whoopi Goldberg is crying foul. Speaking on The View, Goldberg, who is the second Black American woman to win an Oscar for acting, said that a whole lot of movies are going to have to get pulled if HBO Max goes down this path. Personally, I think you put things in a historical context, because if you start pulling every film, you're going to have to pull all of the blaxploitation movies, because they're not depicting us in the right way either. Oh, she is so right. If you get rid of Shaft, you get rid of anything with Pam Grier in it. Oh my God. Because they're not depicting us the right way, said Goldberg, as reported by Fox News. That's a very long list of films, she continued. If you put before you show the film, listen, this was shot when things were different, and we don't do this anymore. That's what you have to put something in context. And I think Cops, listen, if you balance the people you arrest, if you're arresting everybody, if you make it widespread, white people, yellow people, brown people, everyone's getting arrested, you can have Cops. It just feels like it's a whole bunch of black people. Oh, bullshit. The best part of Cops is when they're trying to arrest some white redneck in the trailer park. Those are the funniest ones. Cops is equal opportunity. Come on. And then Live PD, it just is what it is. But anyway, Goldberg's co-host largely agreed with her sentiments. She also felt that canceling Gone with the Wind would do little to solve racism. It won't do anything to solve racism, right? It doesn't do anything. It just, oh God, it's just so stupid. Though Goldberg leans left, she always stood against censoring art and canceling artists who have different political views. This past September, when Deborah Messing and Eric McCormack demanded to know the names of Trump supporters attending a Beverly Hills fundraiser, Goldberg opposed that kind of blacklisting. In this country, people can vote for who they want to. That is one of the great rights of this country, she said. You don't have to like it, but we don't go after other people because we don't like who they voted for. We don't go after them that way. We can talk about issues and stuff, but we don't print out lists. Goldberg also opposed censoring the Looney Tunes and even provided an introduction to the cartoons on the Golden Collection DVDs released between 2003 and 2008, wherein she said that while certain jokes were wrong and offensive, they should not be erased from history. You know, every once in a while, I have to appreciate Whoopi Goldberg. She's also she's also decent on gun rights. She's a gun owner. That's probably why. Some of the cartoons here reflect some of the prejudice that were commonplace in American society, especially when it came to the treatment of racial and ethnic minorities, she said. These jokes were wrong then, and they are wrong today. I don't know if they're wrong then, because everybody laughed at them, because you laughed at stereotypes. Look, if you watched any Richard Pryor movie back in the 70s, Richard Pryor wrote his own shit. And you know what? Today's crowd wouldn't understand it. But that's just historical context. So were the jokes wrong because they wouldn't like it now and Richard Pryor said it back then? You know, what about Eddie Murphy Raw? Okay, now a lot of people get mad because in Eddie Murphy Raw, he was making fun of gay people. Does it make it the joke's wrong then or wrong now? I don't know. It's a historical context. It's how people, it's just what people did. Do we do it today? Well, no, we have a different sensibility, but that doesn't mean that you have to destroy something from the past. Otherwise we'd be destroying everything back into the memory of man. So whatever that sentence means, I tried to say something that was profound. Also, memory hold by, well, this is out of just basically pressure from one woman who got this one done, and I'm just scratching my head about it. Merriam-Webster, the dictionary people, are going to change the definition of racism after a request from a Missouri woman. Here we go. Merriam-Webster agreed to change its dictionary definition of racism after a 22-year-old black woman from Florissant, Missouri, sent an email to the publishing company's editors last week requesting the change. Kennedy Mitchum, a recent graduate of Drake University. Oh my God! Of course it's somebody from where I went to school. Said that arguments with people about the definition of racism made her realize that she disagreed with the way the word racism was defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, according to KMOV. Mitchum mentioned the current fight we are in, referring to the demonstrations taking place in the U.S. in response to the death of George Floyd, a Minneapolis resident who died in police custody. Many of the demonstrations have descended into violence, with cases of rioting and looting becoming common in major American cities. The first definition of the word in Merriam-Webster's online dictionary defines racism as a belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Well, I'm not really even thrilled with that definition either, but let's see where this goes. Mitchum argued that this was too simple and surface level. It's not just I don't like someone. It's a system of oppression for a certain group of people, she said. Well, wait a minute. No. Oh, is she going to go the way that only certain people can be racist or a victim of racism? Mitchum emailed the company's editors after a few back and forth emails. Merriam-Webster editor Alex Chambers agreed and said a revision to the entry for racism is now being drafted. Mitchum posted a screenshot of the email in a Facebook post June 4th, adding that any victory feels great right now. This blew up? No, It won't. Now, let's see how this. Here we go. You can find. Okay, I don't. Okay, I can't seem to. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Dear Miss Mitchum, thank you for your follow-up. After your last email, I realized that this issue needed to be addressed sooner rather than later, accordingly raised the topic with Merriam-Webster's editorial staff. While our focus... Wait a minute. Why? Here's the problem right off the bat. Merriam-Webster Dictionary has an editorial staff. Now, I know that means people who edit, but when we use the word editorial, we normally think of opinions. Are you trying to define it, or are you trying to give us an opinion of what it means? Continues. While our focus will always be on faithfully reflecting the real word usage of a word, not on promoting any particular viewpoint, we have concluded that omitting any mention of the systemic aspects of racism promotes a certain viewpoint in itself. It also does a disservice to readers of all races, because people often turn to the dictionary to gain a more nuanced view of the way a word is being used in a particular context. And because the use of the word racism to specifically describe racial prejudice combined with systemic oppression is now so no. It's not now so common. It's common among people who have written, what's the woman? I don't remember the woman's name who came up with this this new definition in 1989. But that's not how most people use it. Okay? Most people use the word racism as a form of racist hate towards another race. Okay? There is a small subset of people who demand that it means prejudice plus power. Not everyone uses that way. And in fact, that's the less common usage. The more common usage is the former. But we shall continue. Ignoring its meaning, or ignoring this meaning of the word may leave our readers confused or misled. Well, I would suggest then having an alternative definition and maybe give a small synopsis of where that definition came from, because that hasn't been that's not the most common use of the term. But anyway, a revision to the entry for racism is now being drafted to be added to the dictionary very soon, and we are also planning to revise the entries of other words that are related to racism and have racial connotations, like woke. No, I'm sorry. Company policy prevents me from giving exact dates of upcoming releases or publications, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's what Merriam-Webster wrote back to my fellow Drake alumna, whatever you want to call it. All right, great. So now they've managed to be able to redefine a word or use the critical theory definition of racism. All right. Also targeted on the culture wars, woke leftists targeting police and police shows now target bigger game. The show Paw Patrol. The animated series. Oh my gosh. Now it seems to be open season for woke leftists to target police across America, even on TV. With the cancellation of Cops and episodes of Live PD having been pulled, they are now turning their sights on much more powerful game: the rescue dogs of the children animated series Paw Patrol. On June 2nd, Paw Patrol, which revolves around a crew of search and rescue dogs, tweeted that they would join the movement of entities taking a back seat in order that black voices could be heard, tweeting, quote, "In solidarity of amplify melanated voices, we will be muting our content until June 7th to give access for Black voices to be heard, so we can continue to listen and further our learning. Amplify Black voices, hashtag. But that wasn't enough for the woke leftists. The New York Times noted that of the character Chase, a German Shepherd, which serves as a police and spy dog. In the world of Paw Patrol, Chase is drawn to be a very good boy who barks stuff like, "Chase is on the case," and "all in a police pup's day," as he rescues kittens in his tricked out SUV. Here are some of the comments that followed Paw Patrol attempt at being politically correct. Euthanize the police dog. Defund Paw Patrol. All dogs go to heaven except the class traitors in Paw Patrol. More, you've already brainwashed a bunch of kids into thinking law enforcement is a noble and just profession. Better scrap production forever if you want to make a lasting change. Oh my God. The Times wrote, as protests against racist police violence enter. Okay, I'm just going to read it through it. As protests against racist police violence enter their third week, the charges are mounting against fictional cops too. Even big-hearted cartoon police dogs, or maybe especially big-hearted cartoon police dogs, are on notice. I wonder, you know what? Someone the other day asked, I wonder if they're going to try and cancel Law and Order. Or maybe just cancel Ice-T for playing a cop on Law and Order. I've been waiting, because Ice-T's been on all over Twitter, flapping his tap fingers, right? I wonder, I gotta start following him and just reading comments under him if anyone's getting on his ass for playing a cop on TV, which is ironic anyway. And even he says that's ironic that he's been playing a cop on TV all these years. Anyway, so all these people going after a freaking cartoon because, oh my gosh, we wouldn't want a good depiction of police anywhere. Anyway, in February, the Daily Wire reported that a far-left professor in Canada ranted against Paw Patrol, calling it capitalist propaganda. Woohoo! That leads children away from Marxism. Well, yeah, good. I hope it does. Teaching them to critique and distrust government and embrace individualism. Wait a minute. Teaching to critique and distrust government? Are we supposed to just trust the government? Oh, the government? We're the government. We're here to help. Oh my God. Kennedy wrote Paw Patrol. Oh wait. King's University College professor Liam Kennedy penned a piece titled, "Whenever there's trouble, just yell for help. Crime, conservation, and corporatization in Paw Patrol." These people oh my God, these people got too much time in their hands. Kennedy wrote, Paw Patrol is a private corporation, is used to help provide basic social services in the Adventure Bay community. That's problematic. In that the Paw Patrol creators are sending this message that we can't depend on the state to provide these services. Well, let me give you a really good example of the state not providing these services over the last 3 weeks. Over 1,000 businesses in Minneapolis are gone because the state failed at providing these services. Dumbass. Oh my God. Speaking with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, Kennedy mocked the motto of the show, no job too big, no pup too small, saying to me that's an individualist message. Okay, and pull up your bootstraps. You can do it if you just try hard enough. I know that's just such a terrible message. It's an awful oh my God, if you try hard enough, you can do what you want to get. Wait, that's a bad message? Okay, whatever. Holy shit. He added, I just think as time goes on, children might be less likely to critique the capitalist system that causes environmental harm in the first place and reproduces inequality. Oh my God, these people. All right, real quick. I got a couple more, and then we're gonna get to trends today. But or maybe I'll just not. I don't know. Just a reminder that the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. You know what the biggest thing I need right now is 1,000 subscribers. We're at 731, which means I need 269 more subscribers, and you can help by sharing the streams out. Share out my videos and streams. Hopefully we'll be up to that 1,000 before the end of July when we go on our waterfall tour and take the show on the road. So you can do it through the share arrow down there. You just a couple clicks and you can put it on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Reddit, whatever all those other things are. Or you can just follow me on Twitter, Minds and Gab, which is right down there. And if when I tweet out the show, all you got to do is click the retweet button or repost or republish if you're on those platforms. I am active on Twitter. I'm not active on the other two, but I know some people have been, well, let's just say comfortably separated from Twitter and are on those other platforms. So if you're on one of those, you can do that there too. And finally, if you want to really, if you want to support the show in a little bit bigger way, you can do that through the donation links in the description down below, right down here at PDawg.live. It's there in the chat. The Morning Night Live is brought to you by sponsored by viewers like you. Support the show with your donations and have your super chats read live on the show. Click the link in the chat or in the description. All right, there's my shill for the day. A couple more articles left, and we'll get into some Twitter trends. Oh, I'm kind of ahead of schedule today. I'm getting through these pretty fast. Another place that got a lot of attention yesterday on Twitter, which cracked me up, no pun intended, was Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel, which was hilarious. There was, okay, let me do this. I'm gonna go on to Twitter here. By the way, thank you so much to Tyler F, RVA Dar, Chicago or Chi-Town J, Cynical Lindsay, Maddie, all of you who tweeted out the show today. I appreciate that. So when I went on Twitter, I looked up Cracker Barrel. Okay, and it was a pretty hot topic yesterday because somebody, what did they put out here? They put out this question: y'all ever walk in a place that just feels racist? And one of the most popular answers yesterday was Cracker Barrel. Now, Cracker Barrel is just a restaurant. I mean, they have some really good pancakes and breakfast stuff, and it looks like an old country store. If you've never heard of Cracker Barrel, they look like an old country store. It's set up to look like like a country store with wooden front and some rocking chairs on the and old wagon wheels on the porch. And then you walk in and you walk through a little country store, and then you go in the back, and that's where the restaurant is. And they have great food. It's mostly Southern style food. It's the only place I can get some really good cheese grits up in here in the Twin Cities. And what? Hey, Boomer, why don't you ditch the old TV for a flat screen?
That's right.
I do need to update my Never mind. I'll update the set one of these days. Cracker Barrel. I am just... And so people out there, Cracker Barrel has been trending today and appears to be the next target for the woke liberal mob because, you know, it's racist or something. I mean, and here's some of the tweets. I mean, really, they called it Cracker Barrel. The name says it all. Sorry, but if you go to the South, black people eat Cracker Barrel all the time. This person, Cracker Barrel is trending. Let me tell you, that is a place on name alone I avoided like the plague as a black woman living in the South. And the stories I heard and now see on here is why. They come by that rep honestly. Now, look, there was one location of a Cracker Barrel that in like I think 2007 or 2000, I think it's 2004, there was some discrimination suit that they settled because for whatever reason. Now, it's kind of like Denny's went through that, and the Denny's chain was devastated by that. The only place you can see that I've seen Denny's lately have been out in the West Coast. They used to have Denny's all over the country, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. Open the door to a Cracker Barrel and you get a whiff of Jim Crow and biscuits. Are you kidding me? Wait, why open the door? Those plantation-looking rocking chairs give off the vibe from the porch. These people have lost their minds. I'm surprised everyone is surprised by Cracker Barrel. You really got to tell me that a place that looks like this with a name like that is for black people? Come on, man. You know what? Go eat at a Cracker Barrel if you've never been to one. They have great. I love their pancakes. They're unique to the other places I've seen. So, anyway, first of all, why do black people eat at Cracker Barrel? It's the most racist restaurant ever. Research the name. Okay, let's research the name. Let's research Cracker Barrel. Origin. Let's try that. What's the origin of the name Cracker Barrel? Timeline of our company history. Let's try that. Let's look it up. Research the name. That's what we're doing. Okay, so our history has always been rooted in the warm hospitality and home-style cooking that makes every location special. See how we made Cracker Barrel your home away from home. 1969, first Cracker Barrel opened. Dan W. Evans opened the first Cracker Barrel Old Country store in September 19th, 1969, located on Highway 101 in Lebanon, Tennessee. And yes, even then, the cornbread was made from scratch. Cracker Barrel locations expanded to 13. People seemed more than pleased with the cooking, and by 1977, Dan and his investors, most of whom were local friends and associates, had opened 13 stores from Kentucky to Georgia. As Cracker Barrel expanded, Dan Evans wanted to redesign the logo for his growing business. Bill Holly, a designer from Nashville Advertising. Okay, that doesn't tell me what the origin of its name is, though. Let's see. Let's go back here. Let's go, because Cracker Barrel Wikipedia. Okay, maybe it says here it is. Where did Cracker Barrel get its name from? The store Southern Living. Okay, here we go. It's a homespun tale. It's a classic road trip stop. It's a favorite Sunday afternoon meals with the family. It's Cracker Barrel Old Country store to be precise. The first Cracker Barrel opened in. Okay, we already know where it opened. Okay, here. As it happens, Merriam-Webster, who's changing the definition of racism, defines Cracker Barrel as an adjective suggestive of the friendly homespun character of a country store. So technically, you could say, I'm looking forward to a Cracker Barrel visit to Cracker Barrel. But why is the country store itself named Cracker Barrel? The answer lies in the logo. The term Cracker Barrel was first used in 1916, and it emerged from the country stores of the era. Also, actual barrels of crackers. The phrase Cracker Barrel was inspired by the barrels full of soda crackers that were for sale in the country's country stores. Each barrel stored the particular the popular soda crackers, much like the southern favorite saltine crackers or northern favorite common crackers, and visitors to the store sat around the barrels chatting and catching up on the old days news, hence the friendly homespun character touted by the dictionary definition. That's why the logo tells the store's origin story and the history of its traditions. Take a look. The figure sits in a rocking chair and leans on a barrel that's presumably filled with those crackers. Okay. So, as I read that definition or what she asked, what was her question here? She said, where'd the hell did that go? Cracker Barrel, here we go. Research the name. Okay. Just did research the name. Did you? Now, Tariq Nasheed said something. So, a big buck-broken buffoon tried to make his grandiose gesture of submission seems like an honorable resolution for racial... Okay, I have no idea what this was. Doesn't matter. Can we cancel the Cracker Barrel for good? I don't know if they're racist for real, but anytime I've ever been to one, I felt uncomfortable. I didn't even know what racism truly was as a kid, but I knew Cracker Barrel was racist. How? Did you get some food there? Okay, so this is the... In fact, I could post a lot more, but you get the idea. Yeah, there was tons. I mean, it was all over Twitter yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I could post a lot more, but you get the idea. Also, just to point out, because people are idiots, the name Cracker Barrel has nothing to do with white people. According to the company, it comes from an old tradition, and we just talked about the Cracker Barrels that used to be in stores. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I love me some Cracker Barrel. Their food is the best, their prices are reasonable, and that white sawmill gravy on some mashed potatoes is so good. Their fried okra and macaroni is so, well, I think I'm gonna have to go to Cracker Barrel this weekend. And like I said, it's the only place you can get some good cheese grits in the Twin Cities, so every once in a while we'll go to Cracker Barrel. But here's an interesting one. This is on one, I saw this one too. At a Cracker Barrel in Pell City, Alabama this morning, there were 4 officers, and this middle-aged black man came over and asked for their tickets and said he was paying for their meals. He wouldn't take no as an answer. He then thanked them for their public service. Welcome to America. So that's a heartwarming finish to that story. All right, got a couple more, and then we'll check out Twins. Charles Barkley is not happy, or at least not supportive of the defund police movement, saying most cops do a fantastic job. Well, Charles Barkley has been canceled and uncanceled so many times by the black community, it'll make your head spin. But anyway, every time there's a calamity in America, there are those people who just can't stand to hear from. Just can't stand to hear from, like Alyssa Milano, or worse, Kathy Griffin. But there are those people we all like to hear from, like Mike Rove, or better, Charles Barkley. Barkley, the avuncular, that's an interesting adjective. The avuncular former NBA star with the terrible golf swing is weighing in on the defund the police movement, now sweeping most of the progressive, regressive cities in the country. And he's not a fan. We need cops, and most cops do a fantastic job, but instead of defunding all this other stuff, let's just do police reform. Everybody should be on board for that, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, conservative, or liberal, Barkley said on Tuesday on CNN. This is CNN. After George Floyd's death on Memorial Day, calls emerged to wipe out all the police departments across the country. Barkley said, we all of us Americans, feel terrible about Floyd's tragic death. This is not black or white. This is just about humanity, Barkley said. To see a grown man die before our eyes, if you're not upset by that, if you're white, Jewish, Chinese, anything, there's something wrong with you. The baller mocked both Democrats and Republicans as clowns, saying they should join forces to move swiftly on police reform. The Democrats and the Republicans can't even talk about police reform, he said. That's the number one thing they should do before they do anything else. That's something we've been talking about since former NFL quarterback Kaepernick kneeled. And these clowns in the Democratic Party and Republican Party, that's the number one thing they should do before they do anything else. He said it twice, I guess. Last week, Barkley came out in defense of New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees, who social warriors sought to cancel after he said he would never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States or our country. Drew Brees, whatever he said, I felt he talked about, hey, the flag means different things to different people. But the way he was portrayed on television and radio today was not fair at all. Drew Brees has done some amazing things in New Orleans in his life. I'm not even talking about football, Barkley said. He made a mistake in a statement. I don't even think he's made a mistake in the statement. He just said his opinion, and people who, it's his fair opinion, okay? He honoring his father, that's why he would not disrespect the flag. Did he say that nobody else should? No, he said what he would do. Anyway, I'm never going to go with the mob. I want to make this clear. I did not like what he said right away, but the vitriol and the animosity and hatred that he's gotten for the last 24 hours, I thought it was overkill. That's just my personal opinion. So there you go. Charles Barkley. Let's see. I'm going to skip the last two and we'll just go into trends because I'm running out of time here. So anyway, let's check out what's happening on the old Twitter machine as of right now. Oh, shoot. I just cut my music. Well, we'll do it without music. I pressed the wrong X and I don't feel like pulling it back up. Let's get onto the, let's go on the Twitter machine and see what's happening. Wait, what happened here? All my icons have moved. Okay, let's go. Here we go. All right, on the Explore tab on Twitter today, what's the feature? I bet it's coronavirus. Let's find out. Oh, it is. COVID-19 updates for the United States. Let's see what's on that list. Okay, just a bunch of tweets. Oh, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Oh, let's see what... Hold on. The Chicago Resiliency Fund represents our values of equity, inclusion, and transparency, but also puts those values into action. Proud of the announcement we made today. Well, what is that announcement? She says, let's see, Chicago mayor, oh, and it just went away. What the I hate it when Twitter does that. I don't need this to refresh for me. If I want to refresh, I'll refresh myself. And, okay, that's down in the memory hole. So, all right, fine. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's go back up here. I hate that when it happens. Let's see, City of Austin. Oh, it's doing it again. Lack of research, intellectual. Okay, this is someone named Dr. Angela Rasmussen. A lack of research, intellectual laziness, poor basic thinking skills, and a rush to report news that prejudices any depth is indeed the problem. With the armchair epidemiologists inserting themselves into the COVID-19 dialogue by claiming that they have expertise that they have not. Now, what the hell is she replying to? Let's find out. Okay. Someone named Dr. Tom Frieden said, what do open heart surgery, architecture, and epidemiology have in common? To be done safely, they require specialized training and years of practice. My latest op-ed here on how amateur epidemiology can be harmful to all our health. Okay, it's a Washington Post article, so somehow there's going to be some trashing of the president, I'm sure, because it's in the Washington Post, and that's their mission over the last 3 years. But so let's see, good substantial point, but there's a huge gap between amateur epidemiology and the influx of expertise from related disciplines from math, computer science, economics, forecasting, and other areas who have worked with experts and provided critical insights. So Dr. Saskia Prashisho says for sure that's not what I took away from it, though, but rather that there's been a lot of great work across multiple disciplines, good, but also a lot of bad misrepresentation of knowledge by people who want to insert themselves without realizing implications for poor science communication. Okay, they're having a little argument about that article, and I don't think that's worth our time. So we're gonna move on. Yeah, professional epidemiology can also be harmful. Yeah, it sure can. So anyway, most of these are just people, officials announcing their either press conferences. Oh, Governor Kristi Noem, that fine individual who's the governor of South Dakota, says, in South Dakota, we saw modeling as a tool to be prepared for the worst case scenario with COVID-19. I thank God that the worst case never happened, but we were ready and still are if it did. But no model can take into consideration everything that makes real life work. Apparently, this is a thread. Let's find out the rest of she said. Models can have two major shortcomings. First, no model can actually predict the future, especially when it's based on data that is incomplete. Very good point. Second, no model is capable of replacing human freedom as the best path to responding to life's risk, including the virus. Oh, will she get some hate from this? Wait, Hehe is back? Hehe. And haha, are you the same person? Good morning, Maniac Man, Kyra Alexander, and anyone else who I haven't said hi to yet. She continues, a blind reliance on insufficient modeling has led some politicians to institute disastrous lockdowns that have jeopardized their people's health and welfare while creating conditions for a financial catastrophe that will cause untold burdens and costs to their people. South Dakota took a different path. We used models to prepare, but trusted our people to exercise their freedom and personal responsibility to make wise decisions. If someone is interested in the common good in all its iterations and complexities, freedom is the one and only choice. Oh my gosh, if I were not married. Anyway, she says this. So some replies. This sounds like sensible leadership to me. South Dakota's lucky to have you. I've been following you from Idaho since this began. You've been great. Keep up the great work you've done for your citizens. God bless you. Let's see. This is why we love having you governor of our great state. Thank you for all you do here in South Dakota. Keep up the good work. I knew there'd be I'm waiting for the ones that didn't like what she said. This person says, this is idiotic. The modeling is based on science. Your second guessing is based on ignorance. Huh. So next person, are you and the only governor state that didn't bow down to this cabal's agenda, 21, by refusing its lockdown, social havoc, economic terrorism, shame mask, and fear porn? If so, thank God for your fearless patriot heroism and courage, humanity. Okay. So some people like what she said, and an occasional person doesn't. All right. So that's all I'm going to read on COVID-19 because I just, Oh, by the way, the news media, however, COVID-19 is back with a vengeance as far as they're concerned. They the alphabet media are just telling us how bad we are and that we should all be cowering in fear and should be inside unless you're protesting for a good cause. Anyway. All right, let's get into the trends. The trends today, if I can find them. Okay, that's not it. Let's get into the Explore tab. And trending today, number one trending on Twitter is Terrence J. Now, I think Terrence J is a comedian, if I'm right. I'm not sure. Let's see why Terrence J is trending. Terrence J isn't the only black person that feels like that either. Motherfuckers be brainwashed, feel like you have to struggle to make it. Struggle Olympics. Weird as fuck. White people get help generation after generation. Keenan and I gave them an inch and the fam executed. Okay, if you're white and in my chat, have you been getting help generations after generations? I don't know. I feel like that, I know that I've gotten help from since I've been alive, and I'm pretty sure most of I don't know. Anyway, who is Terrence J? Marlon Wayans didn't give all these treasures to be disrespected by a subpar TV host like Terrence J. What did Terrence J say that's pissing people off? What the Wayans family has done for comedy, culture, and black people is something we'll probably never see again. Terrence J, a lame ass for trying to step on that. Okay, what did this Terrence J person say? Okay, here it is. Terrence J sounds stupid and like a hater. Solid family builds together. Keenan Wayans did exact. Okay, let's find out here. This is the clip they're mad about.
Man, it's like, yo, one thing we gotta know.
Hey.
And listen, let me just school you on something, young man.
No, don't school me.
Let me school you on
talk
something.
to me.
Man.
You ain't gonna school me. I'm a grown ass man.
This ain't all about your family, okay? Your family can't bail you out of this one, all right?
No, but let me tell you something about family. No, I'm gonna tell you something about family. I don't never need them to bail me out of nothing.
Bro,
let me tell you something.
Bro,
they raised me. They raised you. Ever think I'm great because of me? I'm not. I'm great because I'm great because of the tribe. No, you're gonna respect the tribe.
One second, bro. Can you just
tell me another family that's done what niggas done?
You can't talk to me for 2 seconds?
Nah, because you disrespecting the culture.
Get off of Keenan Ivory Wayne's lap for just 2 seconds.
Nigga, nah. Now you talking crazy.
Bro, some of us have to make it on our own. That's all I'm saying. Some of us have to make it on our own. We can't have our family to fucking lift us up all the time.
You gotta come respect me, talk about the family. You gotta start with, nigga. You gotta start with, if you want me to listen, you gotta start with, nigga, your family is great.
Bro, self-made millionaire, bro. It's called A&T, North Carolina A&T.
Nigga, we taught other motherfuckers how to do this.
I don't even know what's going on here.
See, you in a frat. You know why I never, ready? You ready? Terrence, let's listen to each other for a second. Let me listen to each other for a second. I'm gonna talk, you talk. Ready? You know why?
This ain't even my dog, bro. This is not even my dog.
I just want to talk intellectually for a second.
Said, yo, if I hear you barking, I got your back, bro.
Now the wine is talking, and I'm trying to.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. Apparently, okay, who knows? Kim and I gave us the greatest. You know what? I don't care. American Dream is available for anybody, but people are mad at Terrence J for apparently disrespecting the Wayans family. I think his point was that some people have to make it on their own, some people get help, but it doesn't matter. If you find a way, find a way. But he was being stupid. Anyway, two Thursday thoughts we're skipping. Don't have. Well, let's check out Thursday thoughts. We'll get one Thursday thought. Who is monitoring the police? This cop was arrested for repeatedly planting drugs on people. Okay, good. He got arrested. What's your point? You aren't adding anything to the positive conversation. Shh. In fact, here's the thought of the day. If you can't be positive, then at least be quiet. That's not too bad of a Thursday thought. Let's try this one. Be kind to one another and buy flooring with better traction. I was going to look at that one time. My dogs do this too. We have like fake wood floors. I put them in myself, but and our dogs, whenever we make our dogs sit before they eat. So both dogs have to sit, and then we fill their dog bowls, and then we walk away until I say the words, "Go eat." They will sit there salivating, looking at the dog bowls. And every once in a while, they're sitting on rugs in our kitchen. But sometimes I don't have the rugs up because I'm washing or something. And so I'll make them sit, and I'll put the dog bowls out, and then I'll walk out of the room, and I can see them looking over to see if they're seeing. Because sometimes if I'm not looking, they'll just kind of sneak towards the bowls. And then I'll say, "Go eat," and it's like a cartoon when something's trying to run and they're not moving anywhere. It's really kind of funny. Anyway, so that's a cute little picture there. The beauty of being a feminist is that you get to be whatever you want, and that's the point. Well, Shonda Rhimes. That's the same for people who aren't feminists. Do you get it? Okay. That has nothing to do with being a feminist. You can be whatever you want, whether you're a feminist or not. That's the beauty of just being an American. But anyway, moving on. Okay, so I don't know. Anyway, all right, those are the Thursday thoughts of the day. Let's move on. Trending number 3, we are bulletproof the eternal. That just changed on here, and I have no idea what that means. Oh, this is some K-pop shit. Patrice, are you here today? I haven't seen you in the chat. This is apparently a K-pop thing. Okay, it's K-pop. I'm skipping. Skip. Moving on. SS. Okay, for Secret Service. Why is this trending? Trump mocked for using a very common name for notorious Nazi paramilitary organization. Okay, so he was talking about the Secret Service and said SS, so people are mocking him for that. Because it's Twitter. And so, of course. The U.S. Secret Service never refers itself to SS for obvious reasons. The president apparently never got the memo. It's Twitter. You're trying to abbreviate. And so that's a faux pas on the president's part. He makes it easy for him sometimes. I just wish he'd have a proofreader. That's all I would care about. I don't mind that he tweets a lot. Sometimes he needs a proofreader. I'm just saying. But guess who everyone's talking about today? Of course, they're talking about him. So it works on a certain scale. PS5 reveal. I know if you're interested in that, looking for that on Twitter. General Milley, U.S. protest, top U.S. military official, issues an apology for Trump photo op. Oh, for fuck's sake. I should not have been there. General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said his appearance in Trump's church photo op was a mistake. Because he should not be part of a political thing, and I think that's maybe the bigger problem. After federal police used tear gas, which they didn't use, and rubber bullets to disperse a crowd of peaceful protesters on June 1st. You mean the ones that were throwing bricks and water bottles at the Secret Service? Peaceful? They were peaceful up until the third time they were asked to move, and then they started throwing bricks and water bottles. Anyway, Milley walked with President Trump and other officials across Lafayette Square to St. John's Episcopal Church in Washington, D.C. Read on for the latest news and updates on city and state responses to protests. So he's apologizing for taking part in the photo op, which in theory he shouldn't, because that's not his position to be in there anyway. But anyway, God. Okay, moving on. And the SS is trending 9. We know why. Cognac Queen. Do I take a chance on even clicking this? Love them all, but freaking nasty. Cognac Queen and cocky as fuck hit different. So this is Megan Thee Stallion released Tina Snow. Mixtape include Freak Nasty, Certified Platinum Breakthrough, and Big Ol' Freak. So anyway, she's a entertainer of the hip hop variety, whatever. 106th and Park. That's a show on BET where they do play videos. Oh, I see. That was that Terrence J was clip was from 106 and Park talking to Sean Wayans? No, Marlon Wayans, which I couldn't remember which Wayans it was. Jefferson Davis is trending because the Jefferson Davis statue somewhere, I think in somewhere, I don't know what city it was toppled in Richmond, Virginia. A crowd of protesters in Richmond, Virginia brought down the statue of President of the Confederacy. CNN affiliate WRIC reports it comes the day after protesters tore down a statue of Christopher Columbus. Also in Virginia, they did. Oh, that is Richmond. Never mind. Protesters in Virginia top a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis along Richmond's famed Monument Avenue. I still think the people who live there are the ones who should be able to vote on whether or not they're taking down statues. I have no interest in having a statue of Jefferson Davis up. Means nothing to me, but it means something to somebody. But I don't know. I have mixed opinions on that. Anyway, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for statues of Confederate figures such as Jefferson Davis to be removed from the U.S. Capitol. Remember, she says the statues pay homage to hate and not heritage. Well, for some people they do, some people they don't. and they're still a part of the history of the United States. I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about Jefferson Davis. That's the only thing I know about him now. I don't know if he was also maybe a Revolutionary War hero. Who knows? But anyway, I know that one guy, someone got hurt really bad in this incident, though. Cracked his skull. He may have died too. I don't know. Let's see. Anything else in here that looks interesting? Marshall's is trending. Is that Marshall's the store? Or is it? Okay, no, it's not. Wait. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods pledged $10 million to nondescript global organizations for Black people. We stand by our Black associates, customers, and communities. We are committing to donating $10 million over the 2 years to a global organization such to combat racial injustice and address the systemic racism. I still don't know the system that is systemic. I don't know the law that they're talking about. But yep, and then it's funny because some of these places that are donating money that they're, fakely, I think they're going to end up donating money to grievance grifters and not really any organizations that can do anything. So I can see them. Donating to something Sean King brings out, for example. And Sean King is just a grievance grifter. He raises money, and then you never know where the money actually goes. So, is it really going to help racism? Just these companies, what they're doing is they're buying their markers. They're buying their little black square that they can put in their window to show that they're not one of those racist companies. And so it's what are they doing? I don't know. Is that okay? Everything's opening. TJ Maxx, Marshalls still closed. Our TJ Maxx's and Marshalls are open, by the way, in the Twin Cities. Don't know why, but they are. But y'all really going to TJ Maxx, Burlington, and Marshalls as soon as it opens. Where it's going to overpack people. Okay. Yeah, I suppose it just depends on where you live. So anyway, that's why Marshalls is trending. Let's go on. Anything else interesting? American Taliban. Oh gosh. There's this little oh, by the way, the group in Seattle that's taken over like 6 to 8 square blocks of Seattle and decided that they have their own country now. Interesting. It's interesting because Trump has said something about, hey, Seattle, you need to fix your shit. And the governor of Washington apparently didn't really know about it when they started talking about it. Anyway, another 1.5 million joined the ranks of jobless as more Californians claim unemployment. Last month being the 12-week total, a staggering 44.2 million. That is not good. Now, apparently, now that some places are opening up, the jobs numbers actually another 2.5 million went back to work in the last month too. So I don't know how that works. New jobless claims and a 2.5 million that went back to work, and how that adds up, who knows. National Hockey League Player Association is trending. Agreed on opening date for formal training camps. Okay, so hockey's going to be back sometime soon, or at least their training camps are going to be. If you're a hockey fan. International Criminal Court, Trump okays sanctions against International Tribunal employees. Interesting. Now, who's writing? This is an AP article. President Donald Trump lobbed a broadside attack Thursday against the International Criminal Court. It did this by authoring... so I'll do full screen so you can see here. By authorizing economic sanctions and travel restrictions against court workers directly involved in investigating American troops and intelligence officials for possible war crimes in Afghanistan. The executive order signed by the president marks his administration's latest attack against international organizations, treaties, and agreements that don't hew to its policies. Since taking office, Trump has withdrawn from the Paris Climate Accord. Good. The Iran nuclear deal. Good. 2 arms control treaties in Russia, no opinion. He has pulled the U.S. out of the UN Human Rights Council, which is a joke, and the UN Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, which is also a joke, to leave the International Postal Union, and announced an end to cooperation with the World Health Organization, which needs some reform. The International Criminal Court's actions are an attack on the right of American people and threaten to infringe upon our national sovereignty, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany said in a statement. The ICC was established to provide accountability for war crimes, but in practice, it has been an unaccountable and ineffective international bureaucracy that targets and threatens United States personnel as well as personnel of our allies and partners. Yeah, I've never heard of them. I've never heard of the International Criminal Court go after like the people who behead people in some of these countries and stuff like that. I don't know. The executive order authorized Secretary of State in consultation with the Treasury Secretary to block financial assets within U.S. jurisdiction of court personnel who directly engage in investigating, harassing, or detaining U.S. personnel. The order authorizes Secretary of State to block court officials and their family members involved in the investigations from entering the United States. Now, I am torn. I think we should have somebody that investigates any possible infractions, war crimes, things like that. But I always get really, really, really skeptical of some of these international organizations that that do it. So I don't know. It's we'll see where that goes. Moving on, let's see. Golf is back. Yeah, the PGA is playing again, although there's a couple players who are like, well, I don't want to play if there's no crowds. But hey, maybe if people will watch it on TV. George Santana, what's that? Those that deny their history are doomed to repeat it. Sorry, Mr. President, not quite. The quote from George Santayana is that those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. A distinction with a difference. What is essential is that America study their history, learn from it, and apply its lessons carefully. So that got this guy trending? Okay, the actual quote, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Okay. Okay, whatever. Good. Now that people know what the quote is, it still applies to what he's talking about. Way to go. Hashtag activists. Okay, anything else? Trump and Lafayette Square, that has to do with the general radical left Democrats, which has to do with the radical left Democrats. I'm going to stop at that. Oh, wait, I wanted to see what this is. Chokehold Mitch. Hashtag Chokehold Mitch. Now, what is this about? Vote these people out, but I'll be curious to see who here will ban police chokehold. Hashtag Chokehold Mitch. Moscow Mitch, they like to call him Moscow Mitch or Cocaine Mitch, is preventing a vote on banning chokeholds. He's preventing a vote because he knows it will pass. He just got a new name, Chokehold Mitch. Let's get this trending, Chokehold Mitch. So the hashtag activists have Chokehold Mitch trending. Now, the banning chokeholds. Who does that save? Police, for most places, I think chokeholds are already banned. Can't think of, it's the idea that some of these people died of chokeholds. Well, no one has. Not even Eric Garner died of a chokehold. He died from aggressive policing and people laying on him during an arrest in which he resisted arrest and had a severe asthma attack and died. But, because I saw something the other day saying that Eric Garner, he died because someone held a chokehold around his neck for 15 seconds. No, they didn't. The guy who fell and had his arm around his neck for 1.5 seconds and moved it immediately. And remember, Eric Garner didn't say, "I can't breathe," for the first time until after the guy's arm was around his neck, because the guy removed it almost immediately when they tried to roll him over on his side. So that doesn't do anything. I don't know what, the whole chokehold thing. Again, this is just one of those laws they want to make to show that they're doing something when they're actually not doing anything. How about, rather than banning chokeholds, how about we have a conversation and figure out how we stop making, some of the victimless crimes, maybe some of the drug laws, revise some of the drug laws, revise some of the sentencing guidelines and things like that. The kind of thing that we've been doing with the prison reform that the president and the group of people working with the president came up with, where they've gotten some people out of jail who maybe shouldn't have been in jail as long as they can. DI Freedom Watcher, I'll see you later. Thank you for being here. So, what are you really doing there with these, chokeholds? Well, chokeholds, what that won't improve a damn thing. Even George Floyd wasn't killed because of a chokehold. So you're just, chokeholds mean nothing. Nobody uses chokeholds. Nobody's died from a chokehold. Although there is a myth that someone has, but it's not true. Anyway. All right, folks, it's time for me to make myself scarce. And I thank you so much for being here today at the Morning Night Live. I hope you've enjoyed your time here and in the chat, all the people who've been participating quite mightily. And I feel bad that I haven't really gotten to talk to you. Hope we're here Monday through Friday. And I didn't even FTG anybody. There were so many FTGs we could have done during this show. Hi, Straight Sith Mail. How you doing? Anyway, again, thanks for being here. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit the like button before you go on the way out and share the stream. Still trying to get to that 1,000th subscriber. We'll get there sometime soon, with your help. Share the stream, tell people tell people in other places, and so on and so forth. And then also, donations and super chats are done through the Streamlabs link. You all know that. None today, but that's okay. That show's free. You don't feel like you have to. And I just hope you have a great day. I'll be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And you all have a fantastic Thursday. My name is PDawg Knight. And I'm out of here. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Knight channel. Hey, this is PDawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here.